welcome to the Light on Suitability podcast with your host, Elizabeth Comeau, and co-hosts, Shaun and Darrell. This week, Shaun and Darrell are going to give you an overview on how they planned for parole and how they are successfully navigating their reentry into society. Another really good conversation. It's a little choppy at the beginning as usual, but we get right into it and we hope you enjoy. How's everything going? Darrell was telling me about his wonderful Super Bowl festivities, why he ditched you and me, our home team for the Super Bowl.
No.
And
I was supposed to ditch too.
I would never ditch the team. I'm dedicated to the team.
Yes, indeed.
Super Bowl was part of history.
Yes, indeed.
I mean, Elizabeth, I was talking to a family member, and we're going to get right into our show. I was talking to a family member about how many times I watched the TV, watched the Super Bowl, watched games, and just wish that I could just do it outside of prison, just to see how I feel. I mean, prayers and just having the ability to be close, to see things from outside the prison setting is just amazing. Because it's the same behavior inside of prison every year, and just people are so different outside. I like being free. I really appreciate humanity right now.
That's really cool. Really cool. I got a really nice email from somebody's sister. She might want to stay anonymous, but it was very nice. And I thought it would be interesting to share it.
Why not?
And I think they learn more about me listening to what comes out of me than what they see when we're talking to each other, because it's different. It's a different platform.
Yep.
I think. I don't know what the contents are, because no one told me they sent Elizabeth an email, and if it's my sister, I don't know.
I got some people that's tripping out on the podcast too, family members and friends. So I don't know. It might be girls, it might be mine. I don't know.
Exactly. But I'll tell you what.
I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings in case it's Darrell's and not Shaun's, or Shaun's and not Darrell's.
It doesn't matter.
Oh, no. We don't care about all that.
I know.
We ain't got no feeling. We ain't working with no feelings.
Let's see. I have to do this. So many passwords for everything. How do you guys like the passwords for everything?
I hate it. I'll be forgetting mine sometimes.
Yeah, everything's a password.
I had to learn to simplify things.
Well, you get too simple and then you expose yourself to
hackers and all types of stuff.
Security breach. Are you ready?
Yep.
Okay. I hope this email good afternoon, Elizabeth. I hope this email finds you well. My name is, and I am blank's sister. Like I said, I'm not trying to be weird. I just don't have her permission to write, I am writing to thank you for the wonderful job you're doing and for the opportunity you have given. I was absolutely overwhelmed with emotion after listening to the podcast on January 30th. I've only listened to a few of the podcasts, but this one in particular was so encouraging. It almost moved me to tears. First, let me share with you that I'm so proud of my brother. This podcast, along with other things that I've learned that he is doing in the community, are things that he has talked about doing for years, long before he even made the transition and changes within himself that finally led to his parole. He had a heart to reach out to others who might be on the same path he was on when he was younger. It's so amazing to listen to him share his knowledge and experiences with such humility, even when he's trying to navigate through his new life as a free man. When I think about how far he's come and how much further he will go, it's more than inspiring. I'm so excited for what the future holds for him, and I'm so grateful for you and the platform that you are giving him. I've not had the pleasure of meeting, but the two of them work so well together. What a great job they're doing. Of course, I plan to express this to my brother, myself, but I just wanted to send a special thank you to you. The work you are
Hold on,
all
let me-
doing will help so many people and touch so many lives. God bless and wish you much continued success.
Let me go get some toilet paper. That touched my heart. Man,
Yeah, that was a really nice email.
that was phenomenal.
So today, in respect to that email, in
Okay.
respect to the work that we've been doing, because Shaun, we spoke earlier, and Elizabeth, we wrote a number of things down that we were going to talk about. And one of the things that we did not test, but is really important, is the flexibility when preparing parole plans. And what we mean by this is when you don't go where you want to go, and the resources and the people who say they'll be there for you are not there for you or can't be there for you for whatever reason, what do? Because a lot of people come home so rigid, believing everything that is written down on black and white is going to be in color. But when you come to the real world outside of prison, things are different. Things don't happen the way they happened in our mind when we were writing down and preparing our parole plans and committing ourselves to it. So we want to express a little bit about that
Okay.
and hopefully help the listeners, you as an attorney, when talking to your clients and even family members, to understand the need and the necessity of being flexible also with us when we return to society.
Flexibility, excellent topic. I know the two of you and the sort of the twists and turns that happened when you were released and how it was, like you said, it was the black and white parole plan you submitted wasn't necessarily the parole plan that was implemented. So would you like to talk about, would you like to give, people like my clients, the people that are coming up for parole, sort of tips and tricks on that, or talk specifically about the unanticipated things that happen that get in your way of what you thought might be your direction? There's a number of different avenues.
You can combine them together because they really go together. So as we're explaining our flexibility, we're still giving the information that your clients need to hear. I think it can still I think we can do both at the same time.
Okay. I mean, pick one then and go with it. Say, do you want to talk about your personal experiences first as to what you thought was going to happen and then what actually did end up happening and how you had to navigate, around that and how you implemented your flexibility, your coping strategies, and so on?
I think it's just going to be a natural flow, as it always is. But I want to start off, Shaun, if you allow me to, with
Go ahead.
expressing the importance of having both the parole plan and the goals upon release. Because that really is your navigational system, your internal navigational system. And a lot of people don't prepare a parole plan. A lot of people don't have a goal. For instance, I was going to go to Modesto. I was going to go to Nirvana as a transitional system. I was going to go and work with Legacy Alliance. But for some reason, I was not approved by CDCR, and I did put all my cards in stock. In that, however, I've had a plan B and a plan C. Okay, and the plan B was to also have a transitional house if they send me back to Los Angeles, and then the plan C due to COVID, where I would go like a family member. So that was wonderful for me, and I did not go where I wanted to go. My first choice, I went to plan B, and it was different. And getting that also, and part of your parole plan is having preparation for a birth certificate, a social security card, so you can get an identification. And thinking about means of transportation, thinking about who's going to come and spend some quality time with you just to help you get to your first week, So that I think we can start, and then we'll just roll with that. Shaun?
I'm in agreement. I thought you were starting already.
All right. So
Yes,
Elizabeth, a lot, and while we were incarcerated, remember, we've never been released from prison. And the people who we talked to who were released from prison were people who failed at parole. That's why they were back in prison.
Yeah.
So we really couldn't take a lot of quality information from them because they really had no idea why they were back in prison still. So we went with what our lawyers told us. We went with what we learned in our self-help groups. And we prepared parole plans as well as goals upon release. But when you get to society, your parole agent says, I want you to do it this way. Ooh. And when your parole agent says, I want you to do it this way, regardless of what I committed to my mind, to my heart, that was in black and white, that I even entered into agreement with the board of parole hearings, I got to do it the way the parole agent says do it. Which means my family have to alter their program. They got to do things different also. And everyone's not financially secure to just say, okay, I can take off for a week, or, oh, I could do this or I could do that. So now the burden comes back to us. What am I going to do? I'm going to follow the instructions, but now I may have to live in this place in contrast to living where I would have been comfortable. I see your face, Shaun. I'm looking at you.
Yeah.
I'm looking at your face because I mean, and I want to say this also. I am on my 4th parole agent. I'm going on 5 months out. I'm on my 4th parole agent. So I'm roughly been getting a parole agent once a month, which does not give my parole agent opportunity or time to get to know me, to see me for anything. So when I say, hey, can I take a weekend pass? Absolutely not, because I don't know what you're doing. They see I'm working. They see I'm staying out of trouble. They see I'm doing community activist work. They see I'm going to the schools. They probably listening to the podcast. They see I'm doing positive work. But when I say, hey, can I just stay a weekend? I want to go spend time with my family. I don't know you like that. What do you do when that happens? We weren't prepared for this. We didn't think about any of this, you know? So, but what I do, I just follow the script. Whatever they tell me, I do. They tell me I can't be with my family, I go do overtime. I'm going to work. I'm gonna work. That's one thing he's not gonna tell me I can't do is work. I'm going to work, do some overtime.
And to take a little bit of that frustration away by going to work.
Absolutely. So I know, again, the parole plan is very, very important. It is still my navigational system, and it has given me something to look at and say, okay, there's a deviation, but it's not my deviation. There's a deviation. Right. And I've been calling it an audible. Like on the football field, when the quarterback looks and sees that the defense read his play, I do an audible. That's what I call it. I do an audible. Okay, I got to change that right now and just keep on going. And a lot of people who get out are not prepared to do an audible. They're stuck on whatever was written, because it took them forever to come up with it, like it took us forever, but they're not flexible. So we want to encourage flexibility when they're thinking before getting out of prison, flexibility upon release, with flexibility with family. Shaun?
And that's key. I love the way you said that. It's flexibility.
Can I just jump in 1 second then? You
Yes.
talked about a plan A, B, C. Did you have the plan A, B, C before leaving prison, or did you just leave in your parole hearing with a plan A?
I've had plan A, B, and C. I submitted to before my hearing.
Okay. But even with a plan A, B, and C, you still had to make adjustments along the way.
And adaptive changes. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Shaun, sorry about that.
Yeah, I did the same thing. I didn't submit mine to the board, but I had them. And shoot, I needed plan D because nothing worked out like I ain't gonna say nothing work out the way I anticipated. Like it was meant for me to go. It's been a struggle for me. It's been a good struggle. I welcome it with open arms. As you guys know, when I came home, I was supposed to check into the transitional house. They didn't have one for me. I was supposed to go to Modesto, but I ended up coming to Sacramento. Then the transitional house that the board recommended that I go to wasn't a transitional house. It was a vocation place. And then my parole agent just was like, find you one. So I didn't check into a transitional house. I got out on Tuesday. I didn't check into a transitional house until a Friday. And, you know, my parole officer was just like, well, you got a job to do, find you one. And so I was like, find me one, like, isn't that your job? But, you know, flexibility again, I was like, okay, I'm free. I'm gonna go find me a place. Didn't have to go to a transitional house and didn't have to pay to live there. So that right there took some of my funds that I had planned for certain things. So that was a big hit. Then I ended up transferring to Modesto, and things didn't go accordingly as expected, like I had planned. And so I had to, you know, be flexible again and bend, and, you know, like a palm tree, you know, it'll bend all the way down, but it won't be uprooted or break. And so I had to go back to my relapse prevention plan. I had to read over some things, all 3 of them. And then I had to come up with some new things. And then I had to go talk to my support team, Darrell, Elizabeth. You know, I vented towards you guys, you know, what was going on with me. Went to my other little support leaders. And then I just sat down and I processed it. And so it was good for me to have a healthy team. And so I recommend that when you come home, it is vitally important not only to be flexible, but also to have a good support team around you, and not to just move off of emotions, because things don't go our way. We get upset. We don't like the way this went out. We don't like the way the parole agent. I too had 4 parole officers. I got blessed with one. Her name is Martinez. She is phenomenal. She supports me in every way. And so my support team is what really helped me, and being flexible at the same time, and then have able to sit down somewhere. Like, I just sat in my car at night at the transitional house, and I just sat and I just processed, you know, everything that was going on. Because it was times I was just ready to give up and just go get a regular job and just whatever. But then I started thinking, like, you know, everybody who earned their way in the world, right? They went through some stuff. And so it wasn't always easy for most people. And so I just thought about that. I'm just like, if you really love what you love doing, stick with it, because it's gonna pay out at the end. And, you know, I really love what I'm doing, talking to people, giving back, talking to the kids and all that. But I had to process everything, like really process it, and then just really look at God and just be like, okay, you know, you got me here for a reason. And so I looked at it as in, this is an opportunity for me to learn, for me to grow, and I need to go through these different little hurdles and hoops, because there's other people that's gonna come home like me and Darrell that's gonna be going through hurdles and hoops, and we're gonna have firsthand information. We're gonna understand them, we're gonna feel them, and when we talk, they're gonna feel us, because they're gonna know we've been through that same thing.
And we're gonna be there for them. And we're gonna be there for them.
Exactly. And so
Shaun, let me ask you this, because we both went through this. Like your parole agent told you, find a place. I got out, you know, once they did Galvin Newsom's so-called recall and it didn't go through, immediately they started letting us out. So I got out early, which means my paperwork was not finished by CDCR. So again, I came home with nothing. I had to get I wanted an ID. In order to get an ID, you had to have a birth certificate and a social security card. Well, I had a birth certificate that I've been keeping all my prison time. They didn't want a copy, they want original. I don't know how to get no birth certificate because I ain't been on no computer. I mean, remember this. You know, they say find something. We don't know how to just grab a phone and navigate online. We don't know how to do any of that because there is no proper pre-release program for life-term inmates. I mean, the hurdles. And then, after I get a month later, I get a birth certificate. Mind you, I got a prison ID. And then I gotta submit to get a social security card. Mind you, I'm walking around with a prison ID, scared to death. Don't want to get pulled over with a prison ID because that means I'm gonna put handcuffs on you. I'm gonna put you in the back of the car just because, and I don't want to feel like that. So I'm tiptoeing.
And that's a violation. That's a violation. Just to get put in the back of the police car.
Yeah. So then you go to DMV with the Social Security card and the birth certificate and say, I want to, well, we need an address of 3 pieces of mail showing that this is where you live. Well, how am I have some mail? I mean, it's just so many things that
I
people
just got out.
You know, I mean, so wow. So fortunately, while I'm working, they provided everything that I needed. Everything. Helped me get everything, you know, through the work, the extended address. So I'm good. But what if I didn't have that? Again, okay, and then everything costs. And a lot of things is only on, you know, you gotta have a card. Well, I don't have a card. They don't want cash. I mean, it's just things that we really need to not only get back into the prison system and convey to the system what's needed, but we also need to have, upon arrival, when people are released, these are the things that you're gonna have to go through. Let's get this done right now. So in our developing our prospective transitional houses or our release plan, we want to be able to assist people in the same light that we needed assistance in. Because again, families are not thinking about this. They're thinking about get them out, we'll get them some clothes, get them some shoes, give them some food, let's go have a party, and now live your life. There's so many different aspects of life, and I keep mentioning this. It's normal to everyone who's been living it for 20 years. So they don't even think about this stuff no more. I'm doing right now. I went to open a bank account up this week. I'm doing right now what I would have did at 18 years old. Yeah. At 18 years old, what I would have did 33 years ago, I'm doing right now. So they're looking at me like, where have you been? Who are you? I'm like a ghost. You know, I got a driving license with a brand new number. They were like, I mean, it's just so many things. And it's not an obstacle or a hurdle because it's a process I'm going through, gladly, willingly, with a smile. But a lot of people are not prepared for this because in our planning, they didn't provide this quality information to us. So we have to do this, Shaun.
You're right. They don't have to do this. And that pre-release that they have inside, that doesn't really teach anything. Because when I was working in education, I used to go and sit in the class. That's garbage. You know, no disrespect to CDCR, but that's garbage. It definitely didn't plan, and you don't have to be a lifer. It's just anybody period. Because like you said, Darrell, when I came home, right, I had an Oklahoma driver's license, but we've been gone so long, I had to get a birth certificate. But upon my release, right, you know how they come see you be like 2 weeks, 3 weeks after your board?
Yes.
When you get your date, they help you with your ID, your Social Security, your Medi-Cal. I didn't get none of that. And so the day before I went to board, and luckily being that I know how this worked because, you know, me and you worked in the program office, right? I went to the parole counselor and was like, hey, I go home tomorrow. None of the ladies have come to see me about my Medi-Cal, my ID, nothing. Well, he got on the phone, come to find out, they forgot all about me. So they had to do my paperwork that day before I went home. So I had to come home without an ID. And then my auntie who picked me up, she took me the next day to go get a birth certificate. And so I had to pay, what, I think $30, $15, something like that to get a birth certificate. And then I had to go, then I went and got my ID. And then I got my driver's license later.
Exactly. And yeah, you beat me to that on driver's license. I have to wait. You know, I have to wait.
Well, I already had my driver's license in Oklahoma, so I was already good.
So I mean, and this is the thing. And again, Elizabeth, when you're talking to your clients, and you know what we're going through, we want to continue to give to you so you can give to them, because they are taking from you as well as taking it from us upon our arrival. But we just want people to understand that there's going to be some deviation from what you put in your mind. Families, your loved one may have to do some things a little different than what they said they were going to do when they got out, because society is different. You know, everything is different. But I tell you something, Shaun, we used to talk about our daily goals. Stay positive, stay productive, learn something new, and earn something new. And Elizabeth, this is something we did every day. Stay positive, be productive, learn something new, and earn something new. And this has been helping me every single day.
Yes, indeed.
And that's just my daily goals. Okay? Regardless of what comes my way. Go ahead, Shaun.
And I think the reason why that we are so strong now is because we did that every day. Like we had our man talks every day. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
We participated, you know, we was facilitating our groups, but most importantly, we did our talks with each other every single day. And so it was just ingrained in us. Whether no matter what storm we went through, right? No matter how frustrated we get, you know, parole agents say you can't go spend the night with your family, and you like, mother, you know, you upset, you know what I mean? And so instead of us acting out like we used to when we get upset, you know, get that I don't care attitude, or, you know, start shutting down and stuff like that, we're just like, all right, I'm gonna go to work.
Absolutely.
All right, I'm gonna go help some people. You know what I'm saying? So it's important for the ladies, the men, the young men, young women that's incarcerated, right? And even people that's not incarcerated, you know, is that when you go through things and you might not like it, you gotta learn to be flexible. You gotta learn to bend, and you gotta learn to have some people you can talk to, and just try to look at the, like me and Darrell do, we look at the positive things. Because though it might look negative to us, right? There is something positive out of every situation that might look negative to us. So our incarceration time might have looked negative to us, right? And to our family, but we committed a crime, right? Period. But out of that, we learned a lot, and now we're out here and we have the opportunity, a second chance to give back to people and to help people, young kids, grown folks, it don't matter. And so, and to just make a difference in the world. And that's important. So they definitely need to remember that, you know, things won't always go your way. Don't give up. Talk about it. Don't hold it in, because holding stuff in festers. And just, you know, flex. Like, do stretches like before you go to the gym. You know, that's how you got to be flexible, you know? So, yeah, we definitely got to do that.
And something I want to add, I know Elizabeth has something she wants to say, real short. We used to move and respond and react impulsively.
Yeah.
And inside of prison, you have to be impulsive because everything is on time. Somebody do something, you got to do something before something else is done to you.
Yeah.
In society, you do have time to think about the consequences before you act. So you can make wise choices. And again, my choices may not be what other people choose for me, because that's their choice. That's their mind based upon their experiences in life. My choices today is based upon, first and foremost, my personal safety. My personal safety first. There are some places my family live, they want me to come and be, I'm not going over there because it's not safe for me. Okay, bottom line. I love you to death, but I'm not going to be there because it's not safe. Second,
you can come over here and see me. Come over here and see me.
I mean, you know, second of all, you know, after your safety, then you got to think about how your mental and emotional state is going to be. Because if my mind is not in tune with my heart, I'm going to be conflicting. I don't want to live like that. You know, so it's certain things that we have to go through. We put ourselves through this process every day so that we don't respond negatively or impulsively, and continually think about the consequences before we act. Big deal. Big deal. I'm looking, I'm there, yeah, and I'm looking right in your eyes right now. I'm saying, look, yes, because we're living examples of people who've mastered or overcome impulsivity. And I'm gonna say mastered because we think about our consequences now. We don't just move just because something happens. But a lot of people want you to move because if you say go, they just want me to go. I'm not going like that. I'm gonna think about where I'm going first.
Yeah, I'm a question. I'm gonna ask questions like, "What are we going over here for? Like, why are we gonna do this?"
And I have a right to do that. And I have a right to do that.
Right.
Because, and let me say this: for so many years, we were told when to do something, how to do it, and there was consequences if we didn't do it. You can't control my life no more. My thought process, my actions based upon what I think and feel now. can't control me no more. And that's
I'm
how
in
we end up
control.
in prison. Yes,
I'm in control.
yes. Elizabeth?
My thoughts were gravitating to those items you said right out of the gate, that if you don't get help with, it can be very stressful. Number one, how do I get my birth certificate, an original copy of my birth certificate? How do I start the process of getting a driver's license? How do I open a bank account? And I think those top three, but I think there might be some other ones as well. And guys, getting granted parole, something that I could pop in as a handout or other pamphlet or something, just the basics. Because say I have clients, many clients who don't have family members. And like you said, you have family members, but they're not just available 24/7 to drive me here and drive me there and get this document for me or show me how to use a computer. So if we could create sort of, or find even someone who's already got reentry services like that, that you could tap into upon release, even say, okay, are you stuck? You've just been granted parole. You just walked out the gate. You're told to report. You're stuck because something happened to interfere with what you thought was going to happen. Mom said she was going to be there. All of a sudden, she's not there for whatever reason, or sister said she could help. She can't help anymore. She's out of state now, or whatever, as some kind of resource list or instruction sheet, something along those lines would be really helpful.
I think so.
And what I learned, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
What I learned is also, right, and trying to find things out here is that, when me and Darrell left, they had pages with numbers popped up, they either vibrate or they be a beep, 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 and big brick phones that you plugged in the ashtray. What the young kids is taught me out here is just ask Google.
For everything. For
It's
everything.
really simple. If you have a cell phone, which they give out Obama phones and all that, right? Just ask Google, literally. And it helped me out a lot. I forget sometimes, and they be like, just ask Google. I'll be like, oh yeah, that's right. Let me ask Google. Forget y'all don't want to tell me. You know what I'm saying? Y'all want to make me go, ask Google. When they come home, if they need to find where they need to go to get their birth certificate, ask Google. Where's the place nearest me to go and get my birth certificate? And Google will tell you, what do I need to do for this? And Google will tell you. And I'm telling you, Google has helped me out a lot. Really, like, I'm amazed at Google. Like Google has a world of information. Like I'd be amazed. Like I'll be messing with Google just to see if it can't answer my question.
You got a lot. And we have a lot of time on our hands. I want to say this, Elizabeth, due to COVID, like the transitional house I went to, it's called Golden Path. It's really nice, and I appreciate the work. But because of COVID, what they have is called guidance counselors. And these guidance counselors would normally come in and they would do your day-to-day walkthrough and show you how to do all the things that we're talking about right now. But because of COVID, those fundings have been diverted to like pop-up clinics and other things. So we didn't have that guidance counselor at the transitional house. That person who came in and showed us how to do this, how to get the driving license, how to get your social security card, when to prepare for a bank account, how to apply for jobs. So hopefully we can get that re-implemented or reinstituted back into the transitional houses so that when people get there, there are someone that, they also call them caseworkers. There's someone who can actually help them navigate. And if they don't do that, then that's something that we may be able to present to Sacramento, Shaun, when we make our venture up there and say, hey, this is something that's needed. We went to the class and we're certified, get us back into the prison and let us do this with lifetime inmates, but once they get found suitable.
Yeah, and that's amazing that you said that, because at Navarra, we have counselors, right? And so we're still going to group. We got to report to group 2 times out of a week, right?
We go every day. We go every day except Friday and Saturday and Sunday.
Wow, we go 2 times out of a week, and then you have one day to where it's a one-on-one with your counselor. And I have to say, they it doesn't matter about COVID, you just got to wear your mask, but they offer everything, any assistance, anything that you need. They have it for you. They have the resources and everything. So that's good about Navarre.
That's why I wanted to go to Modesto. However, we're doing good. I know this is necessary. And I think, like Elizabeth said, if there's, and I'm sure we could do some little packets, because just like you said, go to Google. You can also copy that, and I can send that to the printer and print those sheets that they give us. And that's something that can be also sent into the prisons, so people can start looking at it and familiarizing themselves with these documents on how to get the things that's necessary upon release. Because again, this wasn't thought about before we got out. And if it was, no one spoke about it. So I'm saying it was not thought about. I don't think anybody would intentionally keep this information from us, knowing how vulnerable we were returning to society. So I'm gonna say it wasn't thought about. Right.
It was. And that's what we remember when one of our friends got out, that we was telling him, hey, send me some stuff. Like, we wanted some curriculum. Me and Darrell wanted some curriculum that would prepare us for the streets, because he was going through some things also, right?
Yes.
And so there's all the curriculum is about how to change in prison and how to be out of trouble in prison. But nothing is taught about, like you said, Darrell, earlier, nothing is taught about how to stay out, right? How to be flexible, how to bend, how to do how do you get your driver's license? How do you get do this? And thank God that we blessed enough to have family, right? But there was a lot of things that me and you had to do on our own. There's a lot of cats getting out, or women, that don't have family members. They don't have nobody, right? They don't even have friends or a support team, right? Whether they're a lifer or not a lifer.
True. And I'm gonna tell you this, regardless how much support you have, I'm by myself outside every day.
Yes, indeed.
The reality of it is, I'm on my own outside.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the reality. When I'm turning, getting off the freeway, going wherever, I'm by myself, trying to figure this out. So you have to have confidence in yourself. And this is another thing I really want to help people to see from my perspective. You have to be confident in yourself. Everyone wants you to lean on them. But if you lean on everybody, you'll never be able to do anything on your own. You
can't walk on your own 2 feet.
Yeah, you have to be confident. And look, I get lost 3 or 4 times a week with GPS. I still turn the wrong way.
Turn off on the wrong turn way, everything. I'll be going off on GPS.
But I take it as in stride. I say this is a learning experience. As long as I'm following the rules, I'm good. So what I mean is, we're gonna make small mistakes, but they're not critical. They're not mistakes that jeopardize our safety or our freedom. So it's okay. And it's okay to make mistakes. And that's another thing. I'm not perfect.
It really is. It really is okay to make mistakes.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, these things need to really be talked about, because people want you to be perfect because you did 30 years in prison. Well, 30 years and 20 years, 10 years, 1 year in prison don't mean you're gonna be perfect. It just means I'm that far behind, and I need to acclimate. You can't catch up. I just need to acclimate, and that's a process, and it's a slow process.
That's the key right there. It's a slow process, because a lot of people want to jump out and fly, right? And we've been moving pretty fast, even though we've been jumping over. We in the Olympics running. We're running these hurdles right now. You know what I'm saying? So, but it's definitely it's a slow process, and you just got to be patient with yourself. Like you said, you definitely got to have confidence in yourself, because if you don't, you definitely you're gonna fall to the wayside. You got to have confidence in which, believe in you, because nobody else can believe in you more than you can believe in yourself, right?
And that has to be understood. That has to be understood.
That has to be understood. And so, me and Darrell, well, I'm not boasting, but we believed in ourselves when we was in prison, right? We got out. We believe in ourselves now, no matter what hurdles we're going through. And, you know, I have to keep referring back this, but, you know, all praises be to the creator, you know what I'm saying, who helped us get these things and gave me confidence in myself, right? Showed me who I was, right? Showed me what I can do. Yeah, so we definitely have to do that. Hold on.
Elizabeth, you want to add anything?
No, that was awesome. Excellent, excellent stuff. So birth certificate, driver's license, bank account.
Social security card. You know, and the key thing, we do resume in prison. You have to have a resume. And the places that I've gone to, when they see the lapse of time, they're like, where have you been? You have to be confident enough to not, you don't have to tell me you've been in prison, but you have to make them believe that even though you don't have any history in a particular area, you're trainable, that you're willing to go through whatever is necessary to accomplish the goal. Because they ask, you know, what state did you come from? You know, you sure you wasn't doing this? No, I've been here, and I just tell them, hey, I'm one of those gentlemen who didn't have himself together. I got myself together. Now I'm serious about life, so I'm here. I don't even have to tell them that I'm in prison or I'm on parole because it's not necessary.
Yeah. Like people won't know I've been in prison until I tell them. That's amazing. That's what I used to think. When I first got out, I used to think every time I introduce myself to people, I used to be like, I wonder if do I look like I've been in prison?
We don't look like that.
I
Do
swear.
you have to, don't you, there's no background checks for employment?
Well, some employment. Some employment. And some you just put we'll discuss. If you fill out an application and actually you put we'll discuss, meaning I want to talk to you about it. You know, and sometimes you just put felon, yes, or you're going to the back of the line. But if you put we'll discuss, because it may have been a mishap, it may have been a mistake, you know, or something that's been expunged.
So you got in the door at least and they can meet you. And why can't you use your prison work as a resume? Why does there have to be a gap? So if you were, I know this wasn't you, but I know guys that are PIA for years and they have a very good level in PIA and have very good skills. Why can't that be on a resume from?
It can. Certain jobs can. Certain jobs can.
Okay.
You know, if we just say I've been doing clerical for the last 20 years, they say, well, let me see what you're doing.
Janitorial work.
We're using word processing.
If you worked on the yard crew, you can say I was groundskeeper. If you were a porter inside prison, I was janitorial, right? If you worked in the kitchen, Darrell, you worked in the kitchen. You know, what's that called?
Good. Those are good. The only downfall to that, and I'll have to use it, is because we can't use a positive reference because they want a reference. Right. Refer, you know, and they want you to put your reference down. So if they will take it, it's good. And I'm encourage people to use it because sell yourself. Yeah. But every now and then you may come across that pitfall of where's your reference, and then you say, you know, or you might even be able to get a reference. You know,
well, perhaps that's something else as far as parole planning before you leave. If you are a good worker at whatever job, you were in the offices, someone else might be on the yard crew and they've got a really great, they made a laudatory chrono. Maybe before you leave, can I get your number and have your extension as a work reference?
It's a possibility. Especially a counselor, not for an officer, but for a counselor, because they have an institutional extension. So that is possible. And see, these are things that we
about that one. That's a good one, Darrell.
These are things that we need to venture into because that would be so helpful to a lot of people. It would have been helpful for me. I mean, because these people know me because I work hand in hand with them every day, sometimes 8, sometimes 16 hours a day. So they got to know me better than I almost knew myself.
Yeah. True.
Well, you could also write a letter to the prison and you can address it to whomever you know if you've lost track, but still know their name. You could write that counselor and they have staff PO boxes, counselor
Yeah.
so-and-so
Yes.
at
We can
Avenal.
write to the one in building 2, Darrell.
Say it again, please.
We can write to the counselor in building 2. What's her name?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And anybody, you know, for somebody coming out that doesn't, like Darrell has a job and Shaun's getting his nonprofit work set up, but for other people, that could be nice, but also thinking before then, from that job reference, it's something that needs to be considered, I think is important.
Absolutely.
Because there doesn't need to be gaps in resumes. If you've been
You're
working
right.
in prison the whole time, it's like janitor, comma, Avenal State Prison from 1999 to whatever.
And I'll tell you what, you talking about work ethic, because you're going to work in prison. 13th Amendment clearly states, if you don't work, they're going to punish you. Okay, first, I mean, because that's the only place that you can work without even getting paid. So they know that you have work ethic because you've been in prison, because you've been punished if you don't. So it's a plus, you know. And I use mine. I have a resume, and my resume goes all the way back to my first job in prison, you know, and I use it. And when you want to talk about it, we can talk about it. And sometimes we don't need to talk about it. Well, I'm ready, you know, but once you listen to my story, most people don't even believe, like Shaun said, that I've been in prison. They don't believe it. Well, they think I just did a little turnaround. I said, no, man, I made a career out of it. You know, all of my adult life was in prison, but I didn't let prison do me. I did prison. I did the time. I didn't let the time do me. And that's another thing that we need to help people understand in parole and preparing for their parole. You have to do your freedom now. It's a daily process. You know, everyone wants something. Everyone got a plan for you. But no, I have a plan for me. I have a plan. If my plan fails, I'm going to call you and say, hey, I'm stuck. This ain't working. What you got for me? But until then, let me execute my plan, you know, to see if it's bringing fruit. If it doesn't, I'm going to humble myself and say, help me. But I have to do that.
Know how to switch lanes.
Yeah. I do it on the freeway all the time. They be like, why are you in this slow lane? Why are you in this slow lane? Get over. I'm like, well, there's a truck up ahead. This is how we do, you know? So, but again, the same way we had to navigate in prison. We had to devise a plan. We had to devise a plan not only to get out of prison, but once you're out, you still got to have a plan. Still have to have a plan. And use your time.
Go ahead, Drew.
And use your time wisely, because time is of an essence. Remember that.
Right. And so I'm still making plans right now, right? I haven't stopped because I was in there, right? So I'm still planning. I'm still planning A, B, C, D. If this don't work while I'm out here. And I wonder, before we go, I wanted to say one thing, that it's a law out that if jobs hire a felon, they get an initiative off, like they get like a $3,000, $4,000 tax break, you know, and they get all different little things. And so in Modesto, I helped like 3 of the guys that's in my transitional home get a job. And first they were getting denied. And then I just told them, hey, look, let me get the name of this bill that was passed. And so next time you go to your employer, tell your employer to look up this bill, that if they hire you, they get benefits. They get money, you know, cash back money at the end of the year, however it goes. Yeah. And so that's something that's positive also for if you're coming out and you're looking for a job, that you can tell them that. Because most of the time, if you're straightforward, you know, you'll get the job. And plus, you know, it ain't so much of that discrimination anymore. I mean, you know, laws has changed. I'm seeing a lot of guys come out from prison getting jobs. Like, they really not having a problem.
There's so many jobs. There's not, for the record, Elizabeth, please articulate to your clients and to family members like I do. There are so many available jobs right now. There are so many people who stopped going to work during COVID, don't want to go back to work. There are jobs everywhere. I mean, I'm considering taking a second job right now, and I have choices. And I have a plan. Live off one paycheck, save the other paycheck. While I'm on parole, live off of one, save the other. I mean, you got to have a plan. So there are jobs available, but you have to humble yourself and know that you don't start at the top either. You got to start at the bottom and work your way up.
Yeah.
And
Be
this-
disciplined.
yes,
That's it. You've got to humble yourself and start at the bottom.
absolutely.
You know, my husband, you know, we always talk about, you know, everyone's, oh, he's a yacht captain. He's a yacht captain. And it's this big thing, right? But he started beds and heads. He started cleaning toilets and making the beds. He didn't go
Start
and
at the
become a
top.
Yacht captain.
Absolutely.
And then he swabbed the decks, and then he took a lot of shit and so on and so on. He didn't just become a yacht captain. And so the glamour, people, that's just so very interesting. There's just not a lot of people that want to start at the bottom. They want to, I don't know, have it handed. It's just
Yeah,
handed.
Yes. And you don't appreciate what's just handed. You
Right.
you have to humble yourself and realize that hand that's reaching to you is above you. And it's okay. But as long as that hand is going to pull me up instead of push me down, I will accept the hand. But I won't take a hand that's going to keep me down. Because it's
Yeah.
not really a hand. It's suppression. You know, and I don't want that.
A
So
lot of people don't want to struggle for anything, bro. They just want
Absolutely.
it given to them.
all right, our hour is up.
I'm going to talk to a football team.
There you go. Thank you. I see
Yeah.
you dressed and ready. Yeah, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So Elizabeth, thank you. And again, I'm gonna let the people know we just completed another session, so they're gonna be anticipating to hear it.
All righty.
All right, y'all have a blessed day.
You
gotta
guys have a wonderful
anyway.
week. Wonderful week.
Thank
I
you
will
very
see
much.
you
You
next
will.
week.